Hey everyone, there is a new episode of my Patreon exclusive podcast, Maybe You Can Relate, available now to the patrons of the Rural Woman podcast. You can get access to this full episode, plus extended episodes and patron-only episodes of the Rural Woman podcast when you join the patron community over on Patreon at tier 10 or higher. Here's your sneak peek of the new Maybe You Can Relate episode. Hey folks, I'm Katelyn Dubin. You may know me from such podcasts as the Rural Woman podcast, which you happen to be a proud member of the Patreon community, which is why you are hearing me through your earbuds right now. I'm coming to you from behind the mic in the Rural Woman podcast studio for this exclusive patron-only podcast to share with you a bit more about me, my personal life, our farm, my family, the wins, the struggles, really just a little bit of everything. I wanted to create a space to share my story with a more intimate audience to build a stronger connection. My goal here is to share about the things I've learned, the good, the bad, and everything in between. And maybe, just maybe, you can relate. The one where things don't go as planned. Welcome to 2025. We're still in Q1, technically, as I'm recording this podcast. 2025, it's been a year, and it's February 24th. I am so excited to be sitting down here with you today just to chat, give you some updates. It's been a winter. It has been a winter since I've been able to sit down and do one of my solo podcasts with you. And I appreciate the patience, I'm sure. I'm sure you've all been waiting on the edge of your seat. But then I received a message from a friend who seemed to need some help. And I stepped into a situation that I didn't think I was prepared for. But looking back now, I know that I was prepared for and was prepared to help, and went on a journey with my friend through some mental health struggles. And with her permission, I'm able to just share bits of this with you. It's always been my thought that our mental health journey is ours to share and not for us to share other people's journeys. But she was going through a really hard time. This all being said, it's funny. It's not funny, but I tend to laugh in uncomfortable situations. My good friend and friend of the podcast, Annabelle Morgan, we always do the check-in, like, how's it going over there? How's it going over there? And really, for the first month, it was a little hairy every check-in, right? And then she would check in and I would say to her, like, I don't even want to tell you what's going on because it just keeps getting worse and worse. But I am happy to say that I think, at least for the last 13 days or something, things have been going okay. My friend whom I love dearly and who was going through that hard time. She is on the path to the other side in her healing journey of what has happened for her and her mental health journey. Reminded me that by me sharing just bits or pieces of my own story, my own journey of how I've handled it as a caretaker, how I've been, in the situation that she's been in, those little bits really help people to feel like they're not alone and could make that difference for someone. Thanks for listening to the Rural Woman Podcast. The Rural Woman Podcast is more than just a podcast. We are a community. A huge thank you to the Rural Woman Podcast team, audio editor Max Hofer, and admin support from Kim & Co. Online. A special thanks to our Patreon executive producers, Sarah Riedner from Happiness by the Acre and Carrie Munven from Laystone Farms. To learn how you can become a Patreon executive producer or other ways to financially support the show, head on over to wildrosefarmer.com to learn more. Be sure to hit the follow or subscribe button wherever you listen to the podcast to get the latest episodes directly on your playlist. And if you are loving the show, please be sure to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or any other platform that accepts ratings and reviews. You can connect with us on social media at The Rural Woman Podcast and with me at Wild Rose Farmer. One of the best ways you can support the show is by sharing it. Send this episode to a friend or share on your social media. Let's strengthen and amplify the voices of women in agriculture together. Until next time, my friend, keep sharing your story.